What is up, party people? All the ladies say hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. And all the fellas say hell yeah. Welcome back, my fellow misandries. I'm kidding. I wish some of y'all would take a healthy dose of misandry every single day. Maybe then we could finally get Chris Brown off of these stages and battling kids in front of the mall where he belongs. Dermatologists hate her because they cannot figure out her secret. Yeah, every morning I take my omega-3s, vitamin Ds, 5 milligrams of misandry. Really good for the gut microbiome. Sorry about my voice for this entire video. I just got back from a trip to Europe, and these Europeans just cannot fight the urge to inflict bioterrorism on a poor, unsuspecting POC. How much do you hate having rights? Is it your body, his choice? Then lucky you, you are actually in the exact right and perfect generation for that. You might have thought that you needed to exist like 50, 60 years ago. No, this is actually the perfect time to hold those beliefs. It feels like everybody born after the year 1998 is sharing like one group brain cell. It's like a one main power source, and it's running out of power. Y'all saw one prominent necked biracial making toothpaste for her man on TikTok one time. Now everybody want to be a trad wife. But this is not just about the trad wife, trad life stuff. I kind of want to talk about what appears to me to be kind of an alt-right pipeline, but for girls. And I wanted to take a minute to focus on the women's side of this whole issue because I feel like it's probably a little more insidious, a little less obvious, like what's going on. Because the way that the men are being recruited into the alt-right is a lot more loud. But the way that women are being recruited into it to just kind of play the role in this new world order, it's like the women's version of this alt-right content is not quite as explicitly political, because in this new version of the world where women like have no rights, women don't really take part in the politics. It's just a way to kind of push women into playing their role, which is Little House on the Prairie housewife fantasy. Am I kind of giving that? They're trying to rebrand the patriarchy and make it for girls, as if it's any less backwards. And as if that's even remotely possible or makes any sense at all. And some of us are falling for it. And it's not just the trad wifery, it's the stay skinny, it's the don't work, it's the having kids super young, it's the stay at home girlfriend content, it's the anti-feminist bullshit, it's the pearls, it's all of it. And I want to discuss all of it, so let's kick it off, girly pops. Have you ever just been aura farming and realized, what the hell? I have absolutely nothing to protect me or my data from nefarious characters online. Well, boy oh bot, do I have the sponsorship for you. This portion of the video is sponsored by Aura. I'm telling you that I have considered multiple times not even bothering paying to have a phone number anymore, because the only people that actually call me at this point are my mom and some dude trying to convince me that my Amazon account has been compromised. The only Amazon getting compromised right now is the one in Brazil, all right? Save the trees. But if you are familiar with those kinds of scam calls or familiar scam emails, then that means that your information has been leaked by people called data brokers. And Aura can help you deal with all of those kinds of things. They scan the web to show you how much of these data brokers actually have your information, which is a little bit spooky, I can't lie to you. They offer services like scam call protection. They also offer VPN services. If you're a parent, they offer parental controls. They also have a service that they can provide alerts for your financial accounts. Because yet again, I myself have had the experience of having my credit card be randomly locked because of some random dude making purchases off my card in Florida. My dear beautiful audience, I'm not in Florida. And above all else, if you are in the God-blessed US of A, then you have access to 24/7 customer support. So stop leaving yourself vulnerable to these data breaches and click on my link, aura.com/simi, and get a 14-day free trial of Aura. Go get that data, girl. So the thing about airline food, the thing about the patriarchy that I fear that some of the girlies might have forgotten is that it is by men, for men, kind of. It's not even that good for men. And there's no version of it and no set of behaviors within it that are ever gonna be intrinsically of the benefit of women. You might be attempting to try and use it to your advantage. You're not doing what you think you're doing, but also, what you gonna do, right?
What you gonna do?
The streets are saying that's actually completely antithetical to its original purpose because it's literally meant to subjugate women, just so you know. And I fear that the girlies aren't realizing this and are going head first into their own doom. Everything is stay at home, cook and clean, and no more feminism. Like, oh my God, ladies, what is wrong with you? Despite the fact that being able to choose the trad life is feminism. But see, what you think you're doing is finding this woman positive way to exist within the patriarchy. This Christian, conservative, God-fearing, the right kind of woman kind of a way. And you think maybe if you follow these rules that you'll be happier within the patriarchy. You'll get to live out your trad fantasy of not working and having a man take care of you. But what you're actually doing in practice is trying to hand over all your freedoms and rights back to them. And that's really stupid. And it's just like so insane because it's actually for no reason at all. You don't have to do this. You're like giving back your rights to have them like disseminate them as they see fit, when it's like you can choose that fantasy. You actually don't have to. It doesn't have to be. You can already like not get, you know what I'm saying? You can live any life you want. Sorry, I short-circuited there. I'm sick. And a lot of younger women, I think, are getting fooled into this ideology by the girls on TikTok and the conservative women. That Shira 7 lady, the Sprinkle, that girl who looks like Ben Shapiro, Pearl, and a lot of the women on the right who may or may not even fully believe what they say, but they say it nonetheless. It goes viral on TikTok and the girls are believing it. Like, so many of these women are talking about what seems to be this idealized version of a life for a woman, which revolves so heavily kind of on a traditional life where they are financially dependent on a man.
Don't date broke in 2025. If you do, you stupid. Because I told you, date rich in 2025. If they're not rich, if they're not providing, if they're not generous, you don't go out with them. You don't even have a phone conversation with them. Get a man's money and start a business. Sprinkle. Find a man who wants to give you money, stash it, save it, invest in yourself, start a business, and grow your money. Leave them in the dust where they belong. Okay? Don't waste any more time and energy on dust. That is the advice I would give to anyone. Have fun leveling up and becoming independent. But even if you're in a relationship with a grown, able-bodied man, he's supposed to be paying all the bills. Okay? Don't become independent to become Barbara the Builder. Don't become independent to become a pygmy. Become independent to find a man who's going to still be a provider. If you can't understand that assignment, then I don't know what to tell you.
Harvard Law School?
That's right.
But that's a top 3 school.
Oh, I have a 4.0.
Yes. But your major is fashion merchandising. Harvard won't be impressed that you aced history of polka dots. What are your backups?
I don't need backups. I'm going to Harvard.
I'd love for the feminists, please apply for the oil rigs. Please go do the hard jobs in society. They're open, they're hiring, because I don't equate for, I don't think men or women are equal until we do the equal work. Go apply to be on the oil rigs, go be a plumber, go be an electrician, go be on the front lines of the military, and then we should have equal rights. But until feminists are willing to do that, I don't believe we should have the freedom without the responsibility.
And I think what blows me the hardest, really gets me touching the uvula, it's just like, I feel like I'm the only one who knows this huge secret. Right now, the year is 2025, 2025 AD. You, as a woman, can work. You can make your own money and you can live any life that you want to live. A lot of these women talk like we're fresh out the war or something, like we only just got rights. Well, juster than we have. They talk like they're not business owners on a podcast telling you this message. It's like they're so detached from reality when they are giving this message. They are living a feminist life. They are women talking into the microphone of a podcast, coming online, having their own online businesses, making money, fantasizing en masse about needing men. And you want to tell me the patriarchy isn't a cult and that isn't pure propaganda? Because what reality are you living in? It makes me feel crazy. Like, am I the one that's not living in reality, or are you? Because there ain't no way we living in the same world where you think you still need to get married off by 20 and start having kids to have a decent life. One of us are in an alternate dimension, and I just don't feel like it's me. Y'all will be sitting in your homes that your single mothers provide to you. Ain't heard from your daddy in 3 years. Talking about needing a man. Preaching these ideas that all men cheat, so you just need to get with a rich one. You don't need to do that. Aren't women literally like out owning men in the housing market? Don't women on average own more housing than men? Like, what are you guys even talking about? It's like, I want for you to look objectively at the women trying to sell you on this message. Do they not work? Turn on every brain cell here, sisters. Why the hell would you have to deal with a partner sleeping around on you when you cannot do that?
A married man will, presented with the opportunity to cheat, will hop on it faster than a single man or just a man in a regular relationship.
Why wouldn't you just get a job and live whatever life you want to live and date whoever you want to date?
But recently I've had to stop watching any dating content that was geared towards women because all of it is pretty much a manipulation course on how to date a dude. And since when have they been so essential that we need to give up our faith in having a genuine connection, give up our faith in true reciprocation and trust so that we can have like a husband?
Y'all be in university studying law talking about getting a man with money. Girl,
you are a man with money.
There's nothing wrong with that trad life. You can absolutely choose it and live it and it be wonderful. But this peddling of this idea to you that it is somehow necessary is actual just alt-right propaganda, and I just need you to know that. It is conservative Christian propaganda for the alt-right pipeline. For girls, listen to me. Why the hell would your grandmas and great-grandmas fight so hard to make sure that you don't live this life if it was so good? They always want to make that stupid joke about, who was the woman who made me have to work in the morning? Stop. Women were always working, we just weren't getting paid. And also, that woman was your Mima trying to get the hell away from your pop-pop. Listen, not to sound all Obama administration on you, go to school. And this is not for people in those situations who might be trapped. I'm talking about the young people who have not yet built anything of their life, who thinks this is, for some reason, a path they need to seriously consider. If it does not sound right to you,
Don't do it.
one thing that always got me about the alt-right pipeline for men that I've kind of mentioned before is that I can't quite understand why we took them so seriously in the first place. Because it feels like the most chronically undateable single men of all time are online giving dating advice. And I was always so curious with the men who watch them why that never seems suspicious. Why are these men who constantly give all this advice about women only ever around the women they hire for their shows? And I feel the same sometimes about the girls who are doing the same thing on the girl side of alt-right pipelining work. All these conservative faces for women work and make a lot of money doing so. People regularly brought up, for example, Pearl, who had all these ideas about the correct and incorrect way that women need to treat men in relationship while continuously never being chosen by those type of men. And it's like that should attack this person's credibility, that someone with heavy anti-feminist rhetoric is living a feminist wet dream. So this is how you fly the plane. Wow, I didn't know you were a pilot. Presumptuous. But at the end of the day, it's all capitalism, ain't it? That's always the big ugly elephant in the room, huh? What's a bigger recession indicator than women believing that they need to depend on men for an income when they literally don't need to? But I say that a big part of the reason could be capitalism because I feel like for a lot of us, especially if you're like under 35, truly believe that having a life that's fully independent, being able to have our own place and have some semblance of a life on our own does genuinely feel extremely out of reach. Because so much of women's independence and freedom comes down to financial and economic freedom. And I feel like those two things are so intrinsically tied because things are so bad right now. I think for a lot of women, a way to even cope with the fact that they're not sure if they can do life on their own is to fall prey to the fantasy. And it is a fantasy. The fantasy of getting to stay home and just cook and clean all day and just take care of the baby, which is so much fun, and dress in cottagecore or whatever. And that is a fantasy sold by the patriarchy to encourage women's subservience in this system. It is full financial dependence on another person and more or less only spending your life and time homemaking, which is meaningful work when it's not your only means of survival.
You don't want to be a trad wife, you want to be an aristocrat. It's not the trappings of being just a homemaker and a wife that appeals to you. It's the idea of not having to work a job for a living. But a lot of you aren't thinking about what that means in your socioeconomic status.
And I think this angle is like important to point out because I feel like a lot of the retort towards a lot of these kinds of ideas is more so just like decenter men and like the 4B movement. And can I say something that's like really controversial but ultimately correct? Decentering men is a good stance to have in your life, but I do feel like there's a fair amount of decenter men rhetoric that aligns really heavily with the 4B 4B movement, and the 4B movement is more or less a boycotting of dating men. And I think there's a little bit too much of a crossover with the conversation around decentering men, which again, I'm going to say is a positive thing. Everyone should do that. Frankly, even men should be working on it. But a lot of it, I think, relies too heavily on no longer dating men. And I just don't feel super confident that that's ever going to happen. I don't know. Sorry. People are attracted to men, desire men, and wish to date men. And that is an unshakable truth. Obviously, the crux of the decenter men movement is not that. But I just think that it's evolving a little bit to that in some spaces. It's gonna always kind of lose fire, I think, at that point, because it's just not an achievable goal. All it takes is one photo of some chest and some biceps, and half of y'all who want to talk about decentering men start thinking things that feminism would not like to hear. Do you know how easy women are? I think I'm starting to develop a crush on Travis, which is why I think women need even less trad shit and even more economic and financial stability. Can I get a hoya? I truly think it's a capitalist recession, broke, not having money, stress response, cope thing for all of us feeling just really hopeless and poor and looking for the last thing we could possibly have in our control. For a lot of people, that looks like a man, a rich man at that. And I don't know how to tell y'all this, but people tend to marry within their socioeconomic class. Sorry. The girls are stressed, poor, and dissociating, and for some reason thinking that men are the answer to that. And ooh, baby, do I have a horrifying bridge to sell you. And lastly, they also told me that y'all are dressing like Little House at the Prairie out at the club. You do understand that that is the equivalent cringe level as business casual. Leave the long skirts at home. They are bumping 50 Cent in here. You are only gonna be this young and this hot for about 45 years of your life. So make good of it. I expect, nay, I demand that all summer 2025, it's booty shorts, okay? It's ass shaking, it's 5-inch seams, and I don't want to see anything else. Don't piss me off. So what was the point of this video, and what is the wrap up? Do you really want to be a trad wife, or do you just want to earn a livable wage? And that, my friends, is the video. Me and the most traditional and plushy audience you've ever seen are grateful that you watched. Now, I am super curious about your feelings about this as well, and if you feel like you've fallen prey to any of the girly pop alt-right content, or how you feel about the content and this type of content in general. Once again, thank you so much to Aura for sponsoring this video, and if you want a 14-day free trial, check the link in my description. But as usual, if you've made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.